Welcome back to my channel, boys and girls. This video is going to be the start of something different. I've had a channel on YouTube and have periodically created videos to share since April 3rd, 2007, when I was still in university. Those oldest videos were related to engineering projects and were pure garbage. They have long since been removed. I still have some old content going back 10 years, although this channel is focused on powered paragliding, PPG, for the past 5. 3 years ago, during COVID, I got my pilot certificate and started adding some airplane content as well, although the focus has remained on PPG. Today, however, I'd like to briefly explain why I've made the decision to divest from PPG and focus on a new topic for content on my channel. You may ask, why would you stop flying PPG? So now you're flying underwater? That's not as fun, not as cool. I'm going to unsubscribe right now. Of course, you're welcome to, and I'll certainly grieve the loss of all 111 of you. But again, these videos are for my mom anyway. The reason, of course, is this. On December 4th, 2021, I was being stupid. I was flying 50 miles an hour at an altitude of 20 to 30 feet over farm fields with my trims all the way out and stomping on my speed bar. However, an entirely predictable result occurred. My throttle cut out just as I was about to go over the next row of trees. It took a half dozen trips to an orthopedic specialist over a 6-month period to finally get back on my feet. And after doing so, with my wife's support, I went back to flying. But here's the crucial thing. When I did start flying again, this is what I got back into. Flying dangerously. The realization that pulling G's, flying fast and low, was what made it fun was on my mind for a long time. It bothered me. My wife, who is my best friend, supported the decisions I was making, but I knew that my decisions were selfish. Well, I might have thought, if I die, I die. YOLO! The reality was PPG took away time I would normally spend with her on weekends at best, and would take a lot more than that at worst. So that brings me to the answer to the question, why quit? This is why right here. Before I want to start talking about scuba, I want to briefly share how we got into it. In these short clips, these are videos of our third, now annual, trip out to the Gulf of Mexico to go scalloping. Sure, it's snorkeling, but the activity started me on a path towards an activity I actually love sharing with her. We vacationed in Steinhatchee, Florida, and went out on the boat for 3 days. 2 of those were dedicated to scalloping and 1 for fishing. We caught our first keepable fish since getting into the hobby. They were both spotted sea trout and were right at the minimums of 15 inches, but they were something. We also caught our daily limit for scallops on both days, 2 gallons per day, shared between the both of us. We cleaned and cooked the fish ourselves, but we had a local restaurant cook up the scallops we caught that first day. And now, on to the main topic, getting scuba certified. We went with Dive 6 in Vero Beach, Florida, and Dawn Sanders, our PADI instructor, for training. The open water dives were both around 40 minutes each, the first at West Palm Beach Flower Gardens site at 55 feet, followed by our second dive, the Fourth Window site at 60 feet. This little guy is an orange-spotted filefish. They grow to a length of around 8 inches long and feed mainly on sponges, algae, and other bottom-dwelling invertebrates. This is known as a stoplight parrotfish. They feed mostly on algae by scraping and excavating the reef with their teeth. The name stoplight comes from the marked yellow spot near their pectoral fin. This is a Atlantic big eye. They grow to an average size of 12 inches up to a maximum of 20 inches. They are carnivorous and generally nocturnal. This clip illustrates how we were drift diving. The boat dropped us off at the head of the reef and waited for us down current to surface later. You can see that I'm moving over the reef at a pretty good rate, even though I'm not swimming. Here's the school of Atlantic big eye I mentioned. It's sort of eerie watching them all hang out. This was the first hawksbill sea turtle I captured on camera. They're easy to identify because there were only two types of sea turtles we saw on the reef. The little guy that is following our turtle friend here is a male gray triggerfish. They average around 17 inches long, but can grow to 24 inches, weighing less than 5 pounds. They are highly territorial and will patrol the area around their nests to guard the females and eggs. We had two guides with our group from the dive charter. Pay attention to the guy with the camera and how he's towing the line up to the surface. At the surface, there is a buoy with a diver's flag attached, which signals to the boat where we are. You can see how he is quite interested in his photography, which will become important for him later. This big guy is a loggerhead sea turtle, noticeably larger than our hawksbill friend from earlier. This species of sea turtle is also classified as vulnerable by the IUCN. They take 17 to 33 years to reach sexual maturity and have a lifespan of between 47 and 67 years old. Females come in from the deep ocean and rest on the reef in preparation for nesting along the beaches. Our first dive is ending. Even though as recreational divers we dive NDL or no decompression limit dives and we do not require decompression stops, it is standard practice to take a 3-minute safety stop prior to surfacing. These two cute bluefish are known as blue parrotfish. They get their name from their beak, which they use to scrape algae and organisms from the rocks. They have teeth in their mouths which allow them to break down rocks into sand, and some say a large quantity of our beach sands are in part due to these guys. Similar to swifties in America, this species is known for forming an annual, immature, all-female group, while others in the group may mate anytime they want without any seasonal considerations common to other fish. The large gathering of yellowfish that the blue parrotfish find themselves in are called blue striped grunt. They are also known as Borg grunt, golden grunt, humpback grunt, red mouth grunt, and yellow grunt, which makes sense. On the right are two silver and black fish. They are called black margates. They sometimes go by another name, sweet lips. This guy is called an Atlantic blue tang. Other names are blue doctor or doctorfish, also blue tang surgeonfish. They can grow up to 15 inches long and are bioluminescent, which either aids in signaling other fish or their camouflage. They eat algae, plankton, and general detritus, also known as pooty. Easily my favorite fish of the day, this cool-looking specimen is called a honeycomb cowfish. Also known as a trunkfish, the honeycomb cowfish is a type of boxfish. This here is just your common stingray. The issue I had with it is the understanding that in 2006, one just like it killed Steve Irwin. While I now know that incidents like that are exceedingly rare, at the time I was freaked out by the two guides trying to convince me to get closer to it. While they were doing that, I could clearly see the stingray's eye closest to me. It was tracking me and looking at me with intelligence in those eyes. Also, I could clearly see the rather prominent stinger on top of its tail. The friendly coaxing, trying to get me to be closer to it, was not enough to convince me to invade this guy's personal space, and I was quite relieved to see our dive time was over for the day. Remember when I said it was important to pay attention to the camera guy's line to the surface? Yeah, he forgot too, and our marker buoy was quickly drifting away. The two guides had to quickly try to recover it before it got too far away. We met up with them later at the surface, although they were many dozens of yards away from where we came up. And there you have it. We got certified as recreational scuba divers. Videos probably won't be released on my channel all that often, but hopefully you have found this enjoyable and excuse the lack of PPG content in the future. By the way, I changed the PPG part of my channel name to PFD for Personal Flotation Device. I think it's funny, and that's all that matters. Okay, bye.